Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I hope you guys are having a great day. This is Petal, and welcome to Facts and Two Cents. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Actually, parts of the day should say part of it is a little bit cloudy, and some part of it is a little bit nice and sunshiny. So it's kind of going in and out in New York. Wherever you are, I hope it is fantastic for you. So anyway, welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, this is a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, who will be 3 tomorrow. Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Pula, Guy, and the chickens, and the entire Invictus community. As obviously, we have adopted the the Invictus community, and they are part of us, and we can't get enough of Invictus games. So, anyways, yes, lots of going on. Well, I shouldn't say lots. I mean, lots of speculations, I should say, is going on. But around Meghan and Harry, if will they not, will they not, go to that ridiculous Jubilee that all of the British press is going crazy about this thing, and it's just like, will you give it a rest? At this point, it's just like, oh my lord, just give it a rest already. If they're coming, they'll tell you. Just wait to hear. If not, just stop the ridiculous speculations. And at least one of them is like, highly upset that Harry and Meghan wouldn't say whether they're and it's just nonsense, a nonsense, a nonsense over and over and over. So, anyways, on with our day. It's so funny. One of the things I love, and I am enjoying so much with all of this, is that Meghan Markle is home minding her business, and people are just talking about her. Good, bad, and otherwise. She basically lives, rent free in a lot of people's heads. And so, but some of it in a good way. One of the things that's always interesting, especially like with women's history month, or International Day, Women's Day, is that so many different organizations were quoting her, and she wasn't visible at all that day. She didn't say a word, but so many people were quoting her, and it's so funny. We see this all the time, and it was very funny because this popped up a couple yesterday actually, and it said this is from Invictus Games 2023, which is obviously next year in Dusseldorf, Germany. And so they're like, with one of Meghan's quotes, and it says, you make a choice, continue living your life, feeling muddled in the abyss of self misunderstanding, or you find your identity independent of it. You draw your own box. Duchess Meghan. And I love that, because it's like, that's all right. You get to draw your own box. You can either, hang out in the abyss of self misunderstanding, or you get to decide if what you're going to be. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And so it's wonderful to see it's really wonderful to see uh, the Invictus Games with one of her quotes. And then today I saw this, and it was just like, oh my goodness. you know, um, the female lead actually also did one of her quotes, and again, I love it how Meghan is just hanging out at her house, and people are just, let's just quote Meghan. And the female leads, one of her quotes says, women need a seat at the table. They need an invitation to be seated there, and in some cases they need to create their own table. We need a global understanding that we cannot implement change effectively without women's political participation. Meghan Markle. And, the female lead is an educational charity dedicated to making women's stories more visible, founded. And so I mean, I just love it. I love it that, that people value the things she says, which I think is even more important to Meghan than being seen. A lot of times her words for her are the things that she, wants people to remember her by, and what she values more than it seems even being visible. So I just really love that. I really love that people are paying attention to what she says, and not just like, oh, Meghan was wearing this beautiful dress right now, or Meghan, looks fancy, or whatever, people say with fashion and all of these things. But I just really, really love that. So yeah, Meghan, you just keep inspiring people with your words. And again, yes, women need a seat at the table. And if, in some cases we need to create our own table when we're not, people are not giving us that invitation that we want. Yeah, we need to create our own table. And so, and I am all about creating my own table. I don't necessarily particularly like being at other people's tables a lot of time, and I like to do my own thing and then invite my friends to come to my table. And so yeah, so I just think that's amazing. So yes. So moving on. Oh, before we even move on, as you can see the little scrolly things in the bottom, please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and you're on here and you like our content. Even if you don't, if you're on here all the time and you have not already, please subscribe to our channel. You can also support us by joining our channel, join our 2 cents crew. As you can see scrolling by there, that's where you get to support us on a monthly basis. We also do have PayPal, Cash App, and merchandise, and all the different ways that you can support us as well. And also, as you're listening to this, please, if you haven't, share this video with a friend. There are little clippy things in the little scissor thing. You can clip a little piece of this video and share it with a friend. It'll link back to the video if they'd like to see the whole video. And also, more importantly, even like this video. Please give us a like. So we really appreciate the support, and we are looking to build this community into a larger community so that what we talk about could have more influence in the world. And so, because I think what we talk about is really important. So there you go. Anyways, moving on. This is the big won't they, will they, won't they, will they, won't they? you know, and oh, let me put my little ticker thingy on there, change my little, yeah, we go. Polo or Jubilee? That's the question. You know, um one of the wonderful things over the past weekend was just seeing Prince Harry doing what he loves, doing one of his big things that he loves to do, which is polo. And the community in Santa Barbara, they seem to be really excited that Harry is there, because when Harry's there, I'm sure their ticket sales will go up, because people want to see a prince. They want to be in a place where royalty is hanging out. And so so the US Polo Association, which I've never heard of, because obviously I don't know anything about polo, never followed polo, never been interested in polo, but all of a sudden I'm interested in polo. you know who knows. But anyways, the US Polo Association, they're like, in case you missed it, the People's Prince has arrived at Santa Barbara Polo, SBPRC, which is Santa Barbara Polo, whatever. Hands up if you're swooning already. Prince Harry made his California Polo debut this past weekend, and we're looking forward to more celebrity sightings this summer on the West Coast. Of course. And Prince Harry, I mean, I love the shots of him on a horse. He just has the most amazing shots with him on that horse. It's just, I don't know, like, dude, you are awesome, and he is really good. So yeah, so the Polo Association, they're like, the People's Prince. Of course he's the People's Prince. It's like, Hands up if you're swooning already. I just love it. I absolutely just love it. So the Polo Association, they're like, yeah, please be playing polo all the time. That would really get our, membership, or I don't know if they do membership. I'm sure they do. Or at least I'm, pretty sure they would, probably a membership place, or at least have a big crowd. People want to be around royalty, and we know from the past weekend, Meghan was there. So, so they're excited about it. And then, of course, we know that Harry's team, Los Padres, won their first tournament. And it's so exciting. And again, I said, I think I was talking about this the last episode, where I was like, I don't think I've ever seen Harry play with Nacho where they've lost a match. They're always winning. And the wonderful thing about this is it's for charity. They're playing for charity. So, I'm not sure. I don't know what charities, I know they've done for Sentibale in the past. So I don't know if it's Sentibale that they are playing for here, or whomever is getting their winnings. But they are playing for charity. And so it's very, very exciting. So this is them and their team. And this magazine, I guess it's an online magazine, and it's like, oh, it's actually kind of cool. It's like a little online, literally it reads and turns and flips through just like a magazine. And I was like, oh, thank you. They are doing their big promotion for it. So it's really cool. And so yeah, and so they just kind of went through, I think Los Padres team, this is like their feature. They featured in the magazine, so they were like the cover page for the little magazine. And so they kind of just went through and talked a little bit about the Los Padres team. And Nacho and the two kids that, well, now that I learned it's their kids, they did look very young. And just looking at their faces, they just look very, very young. And it turned out they're like 16 years old, and so it was very interesting. Like and I was like, wow, 16 years old, they're just new. So one of them has an Instagram, and I looked in. Apparently he's like won different tournaments and stuff like that. And I guess they both play with and I guess the Santa Barbara Polo is their like home base. So I guess, Nacho and Harry joined them there. And Nacho is going to be playing through I think June 19th that he's going to be there playing, and they are going to be playing the whole season. So and he's talking about the two kids. He's like, they're really good. They have a great future. And one of the kids, got most of the goals for them. I think they won like 17-10, and one of the kids who was the MVP won, he got like about 4 or 5 of the goals. And so he got the MVP of the match. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, again, these are two 16-year-olds. And they are Kiko Magrini and Juan Guerrero. And so it's so funny because it's like Nacho Figueras, Kiko Negrini, and Juan Guerrero, and Harry Windsor. So everybody are like Spanish in somewhere. Like, Nacho is Argentinian, so I don't know where the other two are from. But, it's Spanish all the way. And then Harry. But maybe Harry has been working on his Spanish because Meghan is fluent. She's fluent in Spanish. And so maybe Harry could have been learning his Spanish and working on his Spanish so that he was able to communicate, but I'm sure they're in California, so they're most likely bilingual. And so, but it's just funny because there was a little clip of when they were playing, and whoever it is was shouting to Harry, was doing it in Spanish, and Harry was like, ah, or something like that. So he understood. But I just thought it was really funny. And so they just went through and were talking about like, how they won the game and all of that stuff. So the tournament they won, the game they won, where they won the tournament, they won it by 17-10. And again, I think it was the Magrini Kiko Magrini, who won the MVP because he was fantastic. He scored quite a few goals. So yeah, Kiko Magrini received the honors for the most valuable player due to his impressive play, resulting in 11 goals throughout the match. Wow! So he was a part of 11 of the goals, and I think 4 of which he scored. And it's just like, you go. I know Harry was also he also scored a goal. So you go, team. The Los Padres team. Here they are. And so most interesting about Harry and Nacho sticking out his tongue at Harry, and they're just such boys. Um, but again, you look at the Kiko and Juan, they do look like little kids. So it's like, yeah, 16-year-olds. And it's so funny, a 16-year-old, and he's the MVP. It's like, shoot, man, he's good. But anyway, so most important in what the British press have been, started humming and hawing about is the schedule, because we know the the Jubilee is coming up. I think, what is it, June 2nd to 5th or something like that. It is June 2nd to 5th. I think in my head I've deliberately shut out the dates. But anyway, or is it June 3rd to 5th? Either 2nd to the 5th or June 3rd to 5th, something like that. I don't remember. But anyways, but look at the schedule of the tournament, because Harry is playing the whole tournament. He's going to be there for the entire season, and this season ends June 19th. And so it says Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, will play the entire 12-goal season at Santa Barbara following the first week's opening tournament. Action will continue with the Folded Hills Pope Challenge May 6th to 15th, which is this coming weekend. So we'll be seeing Harry again. The Leslie Nixon Cup May 20th to 29th, and the Cheval Athletics ASPA Intra Circuit, and that is on June 3rd to the 19th. And this is where, the press is him and Han, is that June 3rd to the 19th. And so, Omid Scobie posted it, and then of course the rest of them are like, oh, Meghan's Meghan's friend Omid is saying that, that they're not coming to the Jubilee. But Omid went on to say, look, and which is true. These are the dates of the tournament. Doesn't mean though he's playing all of those dates, and doesn't mean that he's literally playing on between the 3rd and the 5th. That's just the date of the tournament. The matches could be on different dates. That's just, from between the 3rd and the 19th, June 3rd and the 19th. That's the dates of the tournament. Doesn't mean Los Padres is playing between the 3rd and the 5th, which is the Jubilee. But even if Baby Lily's birthday is June 4th, okay? Harry, whether he is in the UK or yeah, Baby Lily's, I don't know why they didn't want to go take Baby Lily there and overshadow Baby Lily. I know Queen Betty is like, it's her Jubilee and all, but this is Baby Lily's first birthday. That's the most important thing, Queen Betty has had how many Jubilees now? What, 3, 4? I don't know. Wasn't paying attention all that much, but this is Lily's first birthday. Why should she have her birthday overshadowed by some ridiculous Jubilee? So if Harry and Meghan don't go, I don't blame them. I don't want, why put up with that nonsense? And on top of that, Queen Betty is not going to be at most of the things. Like, I think today, apparently as part of that whole Jubilee stuff, they're going to be having all these garden parties where, hundreds of people from different charities show up, and then the Queen walk along shaking everybody's hands and all of that stuff. And she had to pull out because, obviously she's not quite mobile. She's 96 years old, and so to be able to stand up and walk around shaking people's hands and, having small talk with people and whatever out there at Buckingham Palace, she's just not able to do that. So a lot of these things the Queen can't do anyway. So other people in the family are going to be stepping up for her. And you know the press are not interested in the rest of them. It's either the Queen or Meghan and Harry. If neither of them are going to be there, I mean, they're gonna have, I'm sure, like the diehard royalists who cover them. At least a couple of them are gonna be there for those garden parties, etc. But if the Queen is gonna be not gonna be there, the majority of them are not gonna cover it. So they are, that Jubilee is not turning out to be, this thing. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, because it's a party. British people love to party, as we've seen, with a lot of them, especially in their government, partying, even though there was a lockdown. So that's one thing about British people. They love to party. So I'm sure a lot of them are going to be out in the streets partying. And then there's also going to be a troop in the color and all of those things. And also, who knows if the Queen is going to be part of any of those things? So Meghan and Harry can be like, well, if she's not going to be part of it, why are we, it's like, why need to be there? We could go visit the Queen at any time, and providing that security thing, providing the security, all that details, and they get the security that they need. But if they don't, why bother? Stay home. You can always do another ninja visit with the kids, and to see Queen Betty if they haven't already. Who knows? Maybe Harry and Meghan. It was so funny when after Invictus, I don't know, I had it in my head like, maybe they did a ninja thing, and actually other people have mentioned it as well. Maybe they did a ninja thing when they went to Sandringham, bring the kids, and went home and nobody knows. If they did that, would I be shocked? No. That would be the least shocking thing. The absolutely least shocking thing. So who knows what they would do, if they would go or not. But anyways, all of a sudden, when Harry talked about the Queen's security, everybody's like, maybe don't come. Maybe you should not come. And the press. And now they're like, what do you mean? You have to be here. It's your grandma. It's like, I swear, these people in the British press, they are schizophrenic. They have serious personality, like multiple personalities, because it's like, I can't keep up with your outrages, because you switch so many times. It's like, it's giving me like a headache. It's amazing. But anyway, going on, it says Nacho actually was the one they interviewed for this thing. Nacho said, we decided to play in Santa Barbara because Harry lives here. We came up with the idea to be able to use our team for charitable purposes. Nacho Figueres told Click Polo, which this little magazine thing is from Click Polo. Figueres, a longtime friend of Prince Harry, was very pleased with the last weekend's result. I would think they won. I think we had a good game and we improved from our previous match, where we still didn't know each other and we were a little bit nervous, Figueres added. So yeah, their team just got put together. And Nacho continued. They asked Nacho, well, why did you name the team Los Padres? And he said, we named the team like that due to Los Padres National Park that surrounds the area, but also a reference to the connection we both have today in life as parents. And then they asked, beside Prince Harry and yourself, what can you tell us about the team? And Nacho said, the other two players are Kiko Magrini and Juan Guerrero. They are both two very good young players. They're only 16 years old and have a very bright future, but also a very good present. They are, because they're very good. They really played well, and I feel very proud and happy for both of them. This was just the beginning, and we need to keep ourselves focused and working hard to keep good results coming. And they went to asking me, how will your season continue? And he said, I will play here until June, and then I'll go to Aspen in July and August, where I have already been playing with the Ganzi family for the last couple of seasons. Aspen is really a nice place to play, and Polo over there is very entertaining. And the funny thing I love about Nacho is like his family just travel with him. So they are like a Polo traveling family. Wherever he is, The whole family is there. And I just love it. They're just like this nomadic, traveling polo family. And it's just like, I love them. So, of course, you see the family there in Santa Barbara. And, I was thinking, I'm like, are they staying with Harry and Meghan? Because, I mean, Harry and Meghan have a big place. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're all there, both families there, hanging out. I mean, with just coming out of COVID, and well, in some places, we're still having, high rates of COVID, but definitely not as bad as it was. So, and I'm sure they're all tested and all of that stuff. So I just was thinking like, oh, that'd be so great if they're all staying together. I don't know, maybe Nacho and his family are staying at a hotel or something, or maybe they already have a home in California because they spend quite a bit of time there. So maybe they have a home in California. But in my mind, I was like, oh, Harry and his bro and his family all staying together as one big family. Who knows? I don't know what their situation is, but I was just imagining maybe that's what it is. Who knows? I'm sure it's probably not. But anyways, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like are they, aren't they, are they, aren't they, and it is driving the British press crazy. So but I actually really like it. I actually love that Harry and Meghan are not saying. It's like, we don't mind living rent free in your heads. You can, give us more press if you want. But I love the fact that they are not, I mean, they're private citizens. They literally have to say nothing. If they go, they go. If they don't, they don't. And that's just it. They don't owe anybody any explanation or any like, yes, we're coming, or no, we're not coming. They don't. So they can do what they want. So good for you, Harry and Meghan. Whatever you go, whether you go or not, hey, we love you. So, and oh, look at this. Go, Harry! Can you tell they're excited about Harry being a part of this polo season? I think they are. And again, look at this shot. I mean, I just love these. And I think it's probably because, being a photographer, I'm like, there are just certain shots that is like, yeah, this is cool. And, Harry on a horse, playing polo, it's always, I mean, all his shots are just gorgeous. And so you go, Harry. Yes. Anyways, moving on. So I don't know if you guys remember this story. We can take off this little ticky thing here. But if you guys remember, what is it, 2021, when Sarah Everard, when she was killed, and there was this vigil for her that Kate Middleton went to. And if you remember, when she went, there was a big hubbub because she went with no mask. And because it was like, is she just using Sarah Everard for publicity? And then the palace was like, palace was saying, because like, people are like, well, what is Kate Middleton doing there? And it's, she had bodyguards, but they were kind of a little bit behind. So I don't know for what reason, but whatever. She went, and I remember, it was the time, it's like, everybody's wearing masks except her and probably a few people, but she was there without mask. And anyway, so she was there. She visited the memorial, and I think she brought flowers with her. And at the time, Kensington Palace was saying, she knows she's there on a private visit because she remembers what it was like to walk through the city of London by herself, and she just wanted to pay respect and honor Sarah's family. And then it became a big hubbub because later that evening, other women were gathered for a vigil, and the police basically, tackled them. And so, that whole thing, it became a big controversy because, nobody said anything to Kate. And then, later that evening, there was a controversy, with the cops you guys remember they were handcuffing women, never mind the fact that Sarah was killed by a cop, and they were handcuffing people at the vigil. And so it became this big thing because it was like, well, how come y'all didn't say anything when Kate Middleton was here? Nobody, why are you arresting other women when you did nothing to Kate? And then it came out with Kensington Palace that she was there privately. And then when they questioned and people were really going after the police commissioner or whatever her name is, whatever her name is at the time, the female head of the police, the Metropolitan Police, she's like, no, she was there on official duty. And it was like, well, wait a minute, but the palace said she was there privately. Why, what do you mean she was there, on official duty? Basically, she was working official work. Is she, if she was there privately, then, she should have gotten into trouble too, since other people were getting handcuffed later in the day. And Dame Cressida Dick, and she was like, no. She gave this interview on BBC4, and she was like, no, the reason why Kate was there was that she was on official, she was working. So it became a big thing, and so they did a big investigation because the cops were arresting people. They were arresting women. It was just horrible pictures. They were arresting women. And so it became this big thing, and they were doing this investigation. So this was what, March of last year. So over a year, I guess nobody heard anything about what the investigation was. And so I guess the media, they filed for, they do this act where they can force the police to reveal, investigations against their will, really, when they, don't want to reveal stuff. They can file for, and I forgot what it's called, but they can file for this act where the police they have to reveal their findings of whatever the investigation they were doing. And so they released the documents, the investigation. Oh yeah, this is what it looked like when, remember when they were arresting women. And this was just so vile. A police man raped and did he rape? I know he killed her. So the police, a metropolitan police officer killed Sarah Everard. Women are there to pay respect and a vigil, be at a vigil for her. And this is what the police were doing. They were arresting women and claiming because it was lockdown, they weren't supposed to be there. Now you're looking back and realizing, the prime minister wasn't supposed to be partying, yet he was partying, yet they were arresting women for being at a vigil for a woman who a police officer killed. I mean, oh God, England, I swear. Anyways, so this is the report that came out from, the police, doing their investigation. A Metropolitan Police summary of the force's much criticized action on at the March 2021 vigil in Clapham Commons for Sarah Everard mistakenly referred to an appearance by the Duchess of Sussex. A copy of the document shows the public order events debrief release under the Freedom of Information laws. That's right. That's what they filed. The Freedom of Information laws summarizes incidents of note from the evening. The report says the Duchess of Sussex attended the bandstand at approximately 17:15, reported in the media. But it was Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, who attended the vigil that afternoon. A Kensington Palace spokesman later said that she attended to pay respect to the Everard family. And it's kind of like, you want to think that it's just a mistake that they put the Duchess of Sussex. But knowing the Metropolitan Police, when they want to do something negative, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and they had Metropolitan Police officers in their chat room was saying all these negative, derogatory things against Meghan and racist things against Meghan. This is the same police This is the same Metropolitan Police. And I want to think that, okay, maybe they made a mistake. They meant the Duchess of Cambridge and they put the Duchess of Sussex. But part of me is feeling like, nah, I don't think so. That this is deliberate. I have a feeling this is deliberate. Because this is a negative. Whenever there's something that is negative, they do not want to associate the Duchess of Cambridge's name with it. But when it's something negative, for example, this, like a police investigation, because the Duchess of Cambridge was out there trying to use a woman's vigil for publicity and got serious blowback and serious criticism because of it. Because what happened with her being there, instead of Sarah Everard's picture being on the front pages of the newspaper, what the newspaper did the next day was all of it was plastered was Kate Middleton's face, which is the reason I believe she showed up there with no mask. And she showed up there, one with no mask, and out of the blue there was a camera trained right there to capture the moment when Kate Middleton was there with no mask. And because she got blowback, because she got the negative reaction, because a lot of people were really angry that she used this for attention and publicity, she got serious criticism. And now what happens? Instead of putting the Duchess of Cambridge in this negative thing, they use the Duchess of Sussex. And again, we talked a lot about the British press going back and changing their articles. That's why the Royal _ reporter, that's her her screen name on Twitter. That's why she archives all tabloid articles, especially all of those articles, royal articles. She archives all of them because they are going back and changing narratives. They are, changing the articles so that down the road, people looking at those wouldn't know the truth of what happened in real time. And if this Freedom of Information Act didn't happen, we would never have known that the police, instead of having Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge name, they have the Duchess of Sussex. 20 years down the road, if this came out, and if the tabloids were successful at changing all the articles, people down the road wouldn't know that this was not Meghan, that this was actually Kate. And that's why I believe this was absolutely not a mistake. And I could be wrong, could be human error. And, Meghan's name lived rent-free in their heads all the time. So maybe somebody could have meant. But since it's the Metropolitan Police, I'm not going to give them that benefit of a doubt. And then they had the nerve to be like, as reported in the media. Well, as reported in the media, well, this is what the media had. This is what the media looked like. It was all Kate Middleton. Meghan was pregnant in the U.S. was fully pregnant in the U.S. in 2021. And so, yeah. Anyways, it just was like, again, it could be a mistake, but I am not giving the Metropolitan Police any benefit of a doubt. For me, that is deliberate. And knowing how they love to erase history, it's not the first, it's not the second time. Colonialism, so much of their history is erased, burned, so that people wouldn't know what they have done in the past. So much of it, they are masters of changing narratives and trying to erase history. And that's why we're archiving everything. So that way they cannot change it. Even if they try to change it, we have the original copies. And so again, if this Freedom of Information thing didn't happen, we wouldn't know that it's Meghan's name that the police had on record. And it's just like, what if the situation is like Kate she did break the law and needs to, be imprisoned or something. Meghan's name is what was going to be on that record, And so, yeah. So I hope Meghan's lawyers on that and are, be like, no, take Meghan's name off of that, like right now, so I'm hoping they know. And then that's the case. So, anyways, moving on. So, and the story continues. And Kenya has now entered the chat. They have now entered the house. You know, um, there's a group in Kenya, at least 100,000 of them have written a letter to Prince William. And Declassified is one of my go-to. I have very few paper or media outlets in the UK that I would trust to read their information. Declassified UK is one of them. Nadine White's article in The Independent is another. And I forgot the other one. I can't even think right now. But anyways, so the first time I heard about this, actually, Nadine White tweeted about it. And so, but I'm going to take this from Declassified. It says, Prince William petitioned by Kenya land grab victims. Their families were brutally evicted by the British Empire to make way for tea plantation. Now they want the crown to apologize. And we've seen the same, and I am so glad they're doing this. Because obviously we just came out of the charmless offensive tours in the Caribbean, and it's the same refrain. Is if it's one thing with the British, they are creatures of habit. They do the same thing wherever they go. And Kenya, this community in Kenya, they want an apology and they want reparations. And it says a letter delivered to Prince William's household in London today seeks justice for a notorious land grab in East Africa. It comes from a group of Kenyans whose ancestral land was stolen by British imperial forces. They are calling on the royal family to apologize and make reparations. The move follows a wave of protests against the royal tours in the Caribbean, where campaigners have demanded Britain's monarchy address the legacy of slavery. And here we are again in Kenya. And this is the letter that they sent. It's a little bit lengthy, but I'm going to read it because it's important. It says, Dear Prince William, RE recognition of colonial crimes in Kericho, Kenya, and I hope I'm saying it's right, Kericho, says, we are writing to you at this time when you are eagerly preparing for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Kenya clearly is a special place for you and your family. You proposed to your wife there. And when your grandmother became queen, she was visiting Kenya, which at the time was one of the colonies, on a royal tour. It is most telling, however, that the same time in Kericho County, only a few hundred kilometers from where the Queen was staying, our families and ancestors were being violently pushed off the land we had always lived on. It was the British colonial forces that did this so that tea could be planted on the very fertile ground where we were born. We are turning to you now, 70 years later, as a group of over 100,000 victims from Kericho whose suffering as a result of this period has been entirely ignored by your family and the successive British governments. We are urging you at this historic time to stand on the side of justice and to recognize the grave violations we have endured for decades. Our people were violently evicted from their homes to make space for a very lucrative tea plantation that still exists today. Many men and women were raped, arbitrarily detained, and in some cases killed whilst trying to resist the evictions. All were displaced and humiliated, and none have been compensated. The trauma of having our ancestral land stolen from us and the degradation to which we were subjected affected not only those of us directly removed from the land, but also all our family members for generation to come. The pain of our colonial past has been inherited in many forms and is exacerbated by the ongoing economic hardship of losing such precious land to profit hungry corporations. But this is also your colonial past. And where we inherited pain, you inherited profit. Despite our immense suffering under British rule, the British government has refused to acknowledge this fact to, to meet us, any of us, let alone apologize, which is why we are now appealing to you. On in September 2019, our British and Kenyan legal representative submitted an official complaint to the UN Special Rapporteur on the promotion of truth, justice, and reparations and guarantees of non-recurrence. After investigating the complaint and hearing from many of us victims directly, the UN Special Rapporteur sent his report and recommendation to the UK government. It confirmed the responsibility of the British government to remedy the extensive crimes inflicted on our people by way of full public apology and appropriate reparations. Yet still, there has been no response from the British government. We are deeply disappointed. The government has merely stated that it has already expressed regret in relation to certain victims of the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya, and that it would not enter into any process with the Keriko victims. We are clearly different victims whose lands was forcibly taken away. The provisions of reparations to one discrete group of victims plainly does not address our grievances as a separate and distinct group of victims. We do not want this to become a bitter dispute. We just want the wrongs committed against us to be recognized. An apology and a discussion about reparations would be the start to achieve justice. Many of our group are very elderly, so the urgency of this is paramount. We cannot let another victim of this time pass away, still longing for their dignity to be restored. As you prepare to celebrate your grandmother's platinum jubilee, our own elderly family members remember the pain of having their homes and lands taken away from them at the same time. We have very little to celebrate. We are asking you, therefore, do the right thing and support our request for justice by making a public statement of recognition of what we have suffered, as well as an apology and an arrangement for appropriate reparations. It will be in all of our best interests to move forward in this way to a worthy and prosperous future together. We thank you for your consideration of our appeal to you. We look forward to finally closing this painful chapter of history and starting afresh with mutual respect, grace, and dignity. We await your response. Sincerely, Joel Kimutai Bosek, advocate for and on behalf of the victims of abuse by the British colonial forces and the land theft in Keriko, Kenya. And this is a powerful letter. And obviously, it's the same pattern that the British come in, they take people's property, they kick them out, kill, murder, rape, whatever. and then they use that property, profit off of the land, and leave the people with nothing. It's the same pattern that they do over and over and over. And I am so glad that people are now speaking up. And I expect other countries that, this is, they've done this too in Africa and the Caribbean and wherever else, the South Pacific, wherever, I expect to see more and more of this. And it's very interesting that they're sending this letter to to Prince William, because as we know, Prince William has a past in Kenya. He did his gap year at his old girlfriend Jekka Craig. Jekka Craig's family, they have a conservancy. I always want to say conservatory. That's music. A conservancy in Kenya. It was like what, over 60,000 acres of land that they've turned into a conservation, and so that's where they're pretty much, the Lua Wildlife Conservancy. That's Jekka Craig. That is Jekka Craig's father, Ian Craig, who was a big game hunter. Yes, this man who now owns this conservancy where they are protecting wildlife. And as you can see, that's part of their 60,000 acres of land. They have animals and all this major wildlife that's on that property. It's also a safari for their rich friends to come in, and pay big bucks. And whether they do it on this safari or not, but we know that especially like rich Americans, we know their former White House occupant's son has posted pictures of himself in Africa killing wildlife out there. And we know others in the US who trophy hunt in Africa. They pay money, go to these safaris, and where they can legally kill animals. And I don't know if they do that on Lua Wildlife. Apparently it's apparently not, but who knows. But this is where Prince William spent his gap year, and this is where and Ian Craig, Jekka's father, who you can see there again on the left with his airplane in the back there, he owns this, and this is where he's the one that taught conservation to Prince William and also to Prince Harry. And so William spent his gap year here. This is where he actually also proposed to Kate at this conservancy. And so he has that history with them. And then he also said that he's going to support the Commonwealth and all of that stuff. And it's like, okay, whatever. But that's part of why I think they sent that letter to him, because he does have this connection with Lua Wildlife Conservancy. Obviously this is in Kenya. And for me, the thing about, on an aside with these conservancy, is that whenever I hear, conservation, for me, I side eye it, because for me, and and reading up a little bit about it, and what many people have discovering with these things is that this is like another form of colonization. I mean, this is like a land grab, because I'm thinking like, okay, Jekka Craig's father, Ian Craig, has 60,000 acres of Kenyan land. This is a descendant of colonizers, white Brits in Kenya. And a lot of these conservation groups are funded, they're owned by especially white Brits, but white Europeans and rich white Americans. A lot of them have names that are African names. So you would think that they're African organizations, and they're not, including this. I mean, if you saw like his team, the team that that they would put forth on their page, and I'm going to put a link to it. It's the majority Africans, and then I think one or two black or one or two white people. And you would think, oh, if you look at that and don't really know much about, conservation or whatever, and sort of the dirty dealings that go in, you would think it looks like, whoa, this is a majority black owned thing. And no, you would be very, very wrong. Because they would put, Africans on their page so that it looks that way. But this is very much owned by rich white people, rich white Europeans, and funded a lot of it by rich white Europeans, especially Brits, and rich white Americans. And so it's very, very interesting to me to look at this stuff. And then, a lot of times, and even with Lua Wildlife Conservatory, again, this is like, there, let's click on the next page. Yeah, this is their safari. You could come. I mean, you need money to do this. You could come and for 3-4 nights and be, this is a protected area, and this is your safari, beautiful space, beautiful place. You could come and stay and be on their property and go look at exotic animals. The problem with a lot of these places is, and you'll understand why, when Prince William went and Kate, their first leg of their tour in Belize, why the Maya people were like, get off our land. Because Prince William, is a patron of what is it, flora and fauna, or fauna and flora, however they say it, who is right next door, that took people's lands, and the indigenous people that's their land, they cannot access their land. They cannot go on it. A lot of it is, they have guards around. They cannot, get the benefits of their land. They cannot go on their land. They basically take up your land and claim, oh, it's we're doing conservation and we're protecting the animals, but then basically kick off the people who have been, living on that land for hundreds of years. And that's why, the Maya people were like, no, get off. And they are in a big battle with flora and fauna, or fauna and flora, however you say it. That's why they're in a big battle with them and had this big hubbub and the protest, because that's what they do. And it's the same thing with here. One of the things that with a lot of these groups is they come and they make these safaris where their rich friends could come and, and rich Americans and what, we love to go travel to Africa and be on these safaris, and we're looking at, but then what about the community around them? The community cannot access these parks. The community can't come in and access. A lot of times the community around them don't get the benefit of using this land. And I don't understand why a lot of the governments especially in Kenya, it seems to be a big issue in Kenya, why the government allow this, because a lot of these people, they have armed guards around their property. They have electric fences. They basically keep their exotic animals in their property and keep the people out of their property. They want the African animals. They don't want the African people, is basically what is happening. So people can't access the land. They can't, whatever, and usually these people come and they buy up the most fertile land. And the Kenyans who've lived there for how many years and generations get the wasteland, basically, where they can't really do much off the land wherever they are. And so it is just, it's, whenever I see these things, it really, for me, this is, and again, when you read it, you realize, and people talk about it all the time, this is the modern day version of colonialism. This is just, it's a land grab. Because again, white people coming in and taking black property. Now, this is this new version of it where they turn it into a safari and keep the native Kenyans or whatever country they're in. They keep them out, but they can bring their rich friends to come and they make a profit off this land and the people in the community can't. But if you look at their website, they claim that they are, that they work in the community and all of those things, and they employ people. How much though? What is the salary like? Are people able to make a living off of those salaries? Are the other people who have wildlife, or who have animals and all of those things, are the animals, are they able to get, the animals are able to get the same kind of things from the land as they're having in these conservancies? I mean, can people who live right outside of um um Lua Park, are they able to make the same kind of living as Lua Conservancy? That's my question. And so it just, and again, this is one of the reasons why the Kenyan people, I think, went for Prince William, because again, he has a connection to here. He spent time here. Jekka Craig was his girlfriend, and this is Jekka Craig's father's safari, basically. And so yeah, it's just but one of the things, again, as we've seen with, going back to that was my aside rant, but going back to the letter, you know, the same refrain is, we have asked for, apology. We have asked for reparation. We have asked for you to take ownership of what you've done. You have ignored us. You have decided, no, we're not giving you, we're not even going to entertain the conversation. It's the same thing that they've done to the countries in the Caribbean. The same thing. It's like, and in this case, they're like, well, we apologize, and we, took care of the Maamite people, so we're not going to do it with you. And they're clearly saying, like, look, that, there are different people here. You took care of that group, but there are more. There's more. There's another group that you took advantage of. You took our land, and you're not even willing to talk about it. And so Prince William, in his statement, leaving the Caribbean, he has talked about having a new kind of monarchy. So I could understand also too, that could be why they decided, oh, let's send this to Prince William, since he's going to be a new kind of monarchy. The others aren't interested in talking to us. The Queen is not. I mean, and it's so funny because here's a royal reporter. Someone posted it, and I had to laugh on this screenshot. And it's, royal reporter, Richard, whatever his face is. I never remember his last name. Is it Richard or Robert? Richard. I think it's Richard. Yeah. Okay. Royal reporter. It says, William has vowed to serve the people of the Commonwealth, but so far remains silent on this plea for help. And yes, he is referring to exactly this letter. And again, the royal family is just about talking. They have no interest in helping anything. I would be surprised if anyone even says anything about this letter, And when a royal gossiper is, he is outing you and basically like, you said you were going to help the Commonwealth, but we haven't heard peep from you. So when a royal gossiper is saying that, it's bad. I mean, hello, the thing about this whole thing is, and going back to wherever, is the royal family just doesn't care. They don't care. Again, it's about, oh, let's celebrate the Queen's Jubilee. That's all they're talking about. And the thing is that they're also talking like, let's, this country and the Commonwealth are going to be celebrating the Queen's Jubilee. Well, the people of the Commonwealth are telling you they have no reason to celebrate because you stole their property. You brutalized their people. You refuse to apologize. You refuse to, even get into a conversations about reparations. We don't have anything to celebrate. Why are you including us in this? We're celebrating the Queen's Jubilee. We are telling you the Queen hasn't done anything for us. We're telling you your country hasn't done anything for us. Instead of you've brutalized us, we have nothing to celebrate. Leave us out of the nonsense Jubilee stuff because we're not celebrating nothing. You owe us money. You owe us an apology. So it just, mm, we'll see. We're still waiting on a word from the letters from the Caribbean, and at least we know Kenya is Kenya is in the house with this as well. So I expect, again, as I said before, I expect to see more countries speak up, and the more, and I mean, I think that's what needs to happen. More and more and more needs to add the pressure and the pressure and the pressure, because that's the only reason when everyone's focus becomes, when is the UK going to pay reparation? When the world starts paying attention, that's when they're going to hopefully be embarrassed enough to do something about it. But I think all hands, all nations' hands need to be on deck, and they need to be pounding this narrative, like really pounding it day after day after day after day after day, and not let them get away with this. We're celebrating a Jubilee nonsense in the lead up, which is now to the day of the Jubilee and beyond. This is the now. This needs the what needs to happen. Every country needs to be on the ball. Whether it's through letters, whether it's through interviews, whether it's through whatever you need to do, whatever media you need to do. This needs to be the narrative. We need to take away this nonsense about celebrating Jubilee. This needs to be what needs to be, like, we have nothing to celebrate because of this. This is what you have done, and you have not done anything about it. You have not wanting to address the fact that you owe people an apology. You owe them accepting what you did, owning what you did, and you owe people reparations. That's what we're talking about. We have nothing to celebrate. We are not going to be a part of your celebration. That needs to be the narrative, and I hope nations pick up on it and do that. So, anyways, moving on down away from that nonsense. One of the things that I talked about this, going back on to more positive positive things. I had to take a minute there to just get away from the royal family, Shutter Island, and their mess. So back to something inspirational, because I always want to end with something inspirational, is Invictus. And again, Invictus keeps giving and giving and giving, and it is just it has been an absolute joy to just see all the stories that has been coming out from the Invictus Games. And this one is no less, and this is an American athlete, soldier, veteran, who just had, as you can see from these pictures, had devastating injury while serving in Afghanistan. And just his comeback, and the things that he went through, and just the way that he bounced back is just so inspiring. I mean, being healthy, soldier, to having an accident, losing his right leg, and then, being, training for the Warrior Games and all of that, and then being at the Invictus Games. And it is just absolutely amazing, and I am so inspired by the vets and their incredible stories from Invictus. And it says, after nearly losing a leg, after nearly losing his life, Keontae's story found a new lease on life. And it is just, and I'm going to put a link of this in the description. It is a great read. You will be inspired when you read his story. And so a little bit about his story, from the AMA article. It says, do you remember what you were doing on September 7th, 2010? Unless a major milestone in your life took place, probably not. Keontae's story remembers that date as if it was the same today that you are reading this right now. Story was serving America as a member of the Marine Corps, and he was on a mission in the Middle East. They said Middle Easy, but it's Middle East. And it was his second tour of duty after serving in Iraq the year prior. After three of his fellow Marines, this story goes on. So after three of his fellow Marines surveyed a building on a mission in Afghanistan, he went in to check things out for himself. With one step, Story's life changed forever, and it could have ended. We were trying to be radio silent. So I went in the building, and mind you, 12 or so other individuals walked into the building before I did, he said. There was an IED three steps in that somehow no one else stepped on or somehow stepped over. You can't really say no one stepped on it, but he stepped on it and his life changed forever. And an IED is one of those homemade bombs or improvised devices, explosive devices. And he stepped on the IED and he basically lost his leg. It goes on to say in the story, says, even though Story was able to survive and recover over the next 2 years, it was obvious that his active military career, which started in 2007, was over. Story was honored by receiving the Purple Heart for his sacrifice and commitment to the freedom of his country. What may have been just as hard for Keontae's Story, as hard as, one, losing his leg and his military career being over, it says what may have been just as hard for Keontae's Story was the recovery process. He was on several medications to help him to deal with the pain and adapt to a new life as an amputee. The medication ended up having a strong side effect that he didn't want. He was feeling depressed, using the medicine to cope with that instead of heal, and his mindset was in a dark place. So basically what happened, he basically started using the medicine, the pain medicine, and he became addicted to it. And it turned out that his dad wasn't there. His mom was an addict, and he was raised by his second cousin who basically adopted him. And he didn't want his life to end up like his mom's. He didn't want that for himself because he was basically abusing the painkillers. And so he was just like, that's not what I wanted for my life, And so he said, he goes on to say at the bottom, he says, I flushed my pain meds down the toilet and pursued what I wanted to be doing. Being active and traveling, I quit them cold turkey. I am so happy for him because, especially with painkillers and stuff, it's not, not everybody could do that. Not everybody have the willpower and the strength and whatever it takes to be able to quit, abusing pain medicine cold turkey. But I'm so happy he did. He's like, I flushed it down, and I when growing up, knowing as a kid without a mom, and as a kid who his mom was an addict and his dad wasn't there and all that stuff, he just didn't want that kind of life, especially I guess he really enjoying his life in the military, etc. So he quit it, and then he got into sports. He said he started training for major competitions, including the Warrior Games and the Paralympics. He also developed a passion for mountain climbing. In 2013, Story traveled to Antarctica and climbed Mount Vincent Massif. I hope I'm saying that right. One of the world's 7 summits. He was questioning himself as he was moving forward, but he never gave up. And this is him at the summit. And again, he's an amputee. He has a prosthetic leg. And it's just so amazing to see that he didn't. And I think he also climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. He also climbed and got to the top. And it was just like, oh my goodness, And there was for me, there's so many ways and reasons why he could have quit. Here he is going up a mountain with one good leg and one is, a prosthetic leg, and getting all the way to the top. I mean, if that is not inspiring, I don't know what is. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, again, to where he came from, the depression and coming from, using the meds to help him to help with all of that, and then getting rid of it because you're wanting to just not have that kind of life, and then having the will to, decide, because he got in and really realized he loved, racing. He loved sports, and just gone in and just did what it take to the point where this man climbed one of the seven world seven summits, and it's just like, oh my goodness. And so I just think I am just so inspired by what he has been able to achieve. And then he went to Invictus Games, and it was amazing. I think he won two gold medal and a silver medal in track and field. And so it was amazing. And he said about his time there, he says, it feels amazing showing the world not only what I do, but what anyone else can do while recovering from injuries or disabilities was amazing. The Team US showed up and we dominated, he said. As proud as he and his teammates are, there were even more important benefits from competing. So the real key takeaway was meeting other individuals who had their own disabilities and their injuries from all walks of life, seeing how inspirational we all are, and we've all managed to continue pushing forward, was a testament to the human spirit. And so many of the athletes were talking about that. They all have said the same thing. Yes, the medals are great, and it was, but it was being together and seeing how, each other are thriving in spite of whatever disabilities or whatever it is, injuries you have, that they are pushing forward and they're not allowing their injury or disability or whatever to dictate their life. Like, they are making the decisions for their life, whatever it is, and they are pushing beyond what would normally think someone with maybe that injury or that disability will have. And it is just, for me, just so incredibly inspiring to see what they've been achieved. Now I'm like, I need to get out of this house, and I just need to go out there and get my thing. I gained some COVID, some COVID hibernation weight. I need to go out there and do it, and just be, let these inspiring stories and these inspiring men and women inspire me to get this done. So I am totally like blown away, and just really, I just, again, Invictus, man, it just, the stories that has come out of this games is just, it just keeps giving, you know. And he posted this on his Instagram. He said, it was an honor to compete at this year's Invictus Games in Hague 2020, to represent the US and compete against some amazing athletes from around the world. Thank you to all my teammates, staff, and coaches. Thank you to all the friends and family and everyone who came to support us. Thank you to Team Ukraine and all the competitor country athletes that came out to compete. You are all amazing and inspirational. Lastly, a big thank you to all the sponsors and that made all this possible. This is a moment I will never forget. And I hope to be at the next Invictus Games. Thank you, Netherlands. And again, it is just, oh, I cannot wait to get to Dusseldorf. I can't, they can't let go of the Invictus Games, and why should they? I can't let go. No one can let go. And I am so inspired and blown away by just the courage and just the drive and the chutzpah and the verve and all the things you can say about these incredible men and women. And so, look, I thank you guys. Thank you, Keontae Story, for Keontae Story, for sharing your journey, I should say, with us. And I am just blown away by it. So, anyways, moving on. Yes, tomorrow is Archie's birthday. Big boy Archie. Joanne and Juju, that's their Twitter handle. She posted this today. Sussex Squad, Archie's birthday party starts tonight at midnight, New York time. Yes, where everything revolves around New York time. So, so yes, so tonight, midnight, New York time, we start celebrating Archie's birthday. So we're gonna be using hashtag Happy Birthday Archie and Harry and Meghan when we post birthday wishes. Or pictures of your celebration. So whatever we're doing, definitely use that, those hashtags. Some people are also using Archie Day as well. I think we used that last year as well. So, happy birthday, Archie. So the goal is we want to get it trending. It's Archie's big day. We're going to be celebrating it worldwide. Big three. Yeah, Archie. And also don't forget the squadathon is also going to start. So it's going to start at 12:26 New York time or Eastern time, which will be 5:26 a.m. in London, and Pacific time if you're out there in California or wherever you are out west and you are in Pacific time zone, it starts at 9:26 p.m. So again, the squadathon starts Eastern time at 12:26 a.m. and which at that same time would be 5:26 a.m. in the UK and 9:26 p.m. in the West Coast of the US Pacific time. So it's going to be a squadathon. We'll see who will be supporting all of that, I guess, tonight or I should say tomorrow morning at 12:26 a.m. because I'm in New York. So it will be amazing. Enjoy your celebration, everyone. I know I will. I have to, put together some cute little things for cute little posts for Archie's big boy Archie's 3rd birthday. So he's gone beyond drive safe and hydrate. So it'll be interesting to see, to hear what sentences he's using now. So anyways, guys, it will be exciting. I am looking forward to see, Sussex Squad come up with some of the most creative posts. So I am definitely not as creative as most. So in that way, so I will be looking and seeing, and I will be doing a lot of retweeting because I'm not creative in a lot of in those ways. So, but I will try my best to come up with something too. So anyways, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for for hanging out with me and for watching this with me. I'm going to be doing this as a premiere so that way I can get to chat with everyone as we watch it together. So, but thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic day. And I guess I will see you next time. And as usual, we will end this with a little bit of music. My music is called what? Inner Space. So we'll end it with some music as usual. And while we're ending, please, I'm going to put up a little banner again. Please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. And you can also join our channel where you can support us, whether it's by you doing merchandise or we have that little in our background there. Again, my dad allowed me to use his incredible art, so you can also purchase that. That's another way to support. The links for those that are merchandise are in our show notes in the description of this, right below this video. You can click on it, you'll see the links there. You can also, again, we have PayPal, we have Cash App. The links are there in the description as well. And again, like the video, share the video, would be most appreciated. Thank you all so much who have already done all of those things and supported us in whatever way you can. We are most grateful for your support, for the fact that you take your time to hang out with us and listen and participate. And I'm always blown away because in the back of my mind, nobody would be joining me. And so I'm always blown away when I see you guys come on and hang out with me. And so I am so grateful We are so grateful. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. So I will be checking your comments on here, and also regular comments. So thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic, fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.